White Texans receive one member of Congress for every 445,000 residents. If you're Hispanic, it takes about 1.4 million residents for that same representation. If you are Black, it takes 2 million. In this proposal, a Hispanic Texan has 1/3 the political value of a white Texan under this plan, and a Black Texan 1/5. It would take 3 Hispanics to equal the representation of 1 white Texan and 5 Black Texans to equal the value of 1 white Texan. Under these lines, Texas Hispanics will be the most underrepresented population group in all 50 states. The level of underrepresentation will far exceed what even conservative courts have struck down in Louisiana, Alabama, and just yesterday in Mississippi. And yet, when confronted with these facts, a common distraction from proponents of this map is to point a finger at California or Illinois and to say, everyone does it. But no Democratic map in California or Illinois systematically erases representation for a population that is 60% of this state. This map is an abomination. Under this map,
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. So before I get started, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechah Kwadash, to the elder apostles and elder bishop of Great Millstone, who rule well. I'd like to give double honor. Shalom to the 144,000, to the 1/3, to the hopeful elect. Shalom. We're back with another lesson. I'm going to call this, They Frame Mischief Through Unrighteous Decrees. And as you've seen in the video, another situation of the so-called Blacks, Latino, and Native Americans being marginalized by this country. As the man went into, it take 1.5 million Latinos and 2 million so-called Black men to equal to the same voting power of one so-called white man. But our people been marginalized in this place since we've been taken into captivity. So it's not even a big surprise that something like this would go down, especially considering saying they are following after Trump's order. Because honestly, this place is not our risk. So worrying about being marginalized in a voting process that no one has the power to pick the leader they truly want, it's funny anyway. They tell you about the popular vote and all this, but it all come down to the electoral college. And that popular vote has nothing to do with the electoral college. So, in all, this is nothing surprising. I mean, remember, at one point, the so-called Black man was 3/5 of a person in this in the Constitution. So we was already marginalized since we come over here, being called 3/5 of a man. I mean, we not even a whole person. We were 3/5 of a man. Which, let's get a little more into that to show how marginalized our people truly was in this system that already hated us, man. Let's see, why this slave counted 3/5 of a person. The 3/5 compromise was a deal made in 1787 constitutional convention where enslaved people were counted as 3/5 of a person for the purpose of determining state representation in the House of Representatives and for taxation purposes. Let's see. The compromise arose from a conflict between the northern and southern states regarding how to count enslaved people in their census. Southern states wanted enslaved people fully counted to increase their representation, while northern argued they shouldn't be counted at all. The 3/5 compromise was a way to find a middle ground, though it ultimately gave southern states more political power while also acknowledging the humanity of the slave. Let's see. Let's try to hit this one. All right, it was one more I wanted to go into. All right, here. Were slaves considered human? While legally considered property, cattle, and treated as such, slaves were indeed human beings. Despite being, despite the dehumanizing aspect of slavery, enslaved people retained their humanity, including intelligence. The whole point of that was we was property. That's why we were 3/5 of a person. We were considered property. And like this, the AI overview just said, we was treated as such. And we are still treated as such today. I mean, they give us a few victories here and there to keep us quiet from time to time. But if a so-called white man want to really just go off and kill a so-called black man, it's not looking down too much upon him. They're going to bringing up his history. If he got a history of traffic violation, they'll make it sound like the worst thing in the world. Where he got a ticket on speeding, he went 20 miles over the speed limit. That's insane. Shit like that, man. So marginalizing us has always been a point in this country's history. And so to hear it once again in law form, marginalizing the so-called blacks and Latinos, it shouldn't be surprising if you grew up in this country. Now, if you haven't grown up over here and it's a shocker to you, welcome to America. Where the so-called 12 tribes, so-called black, Latino, and Native American, are marginalized on a daily basis. Where they create laws to keep that marginalization up. Matter of fact, since I keep saying it, let's go into that word. Marginalized. Let's see. Marine marginalized. Related to sea, relegated since to an unimportant or powerless position within a society or group. And don't that sound like the so-called black, Latino, and Native American? The 12 tribe? We're in an unimportant and powerless position here in Babylon the Great. So it shouldn't be surprised that they are continuously making laws to help fortify their so-called white supremacy. None of this is new. None of this is surprising. Those same spirits that was here during slavery day, they're back now doing the same wickedness that they did back then. Just like we was 3/5 of a person in the law back then, the same thing is coming back now. Remember, as Elder Malcolm say, it's not make America great again, it's make America white again. Because these people are totally going back to their old roots. How about Shema Shah and put a spirit upon these so-called white men that they had on them during slavery, and you're starting to see them move against the so-called children of Israel in the way they did back in those times, which will help increase the fire of Jacob's trouble once it fully kicks off, once it fully comes into fruition. And they're going to continue to use these laws to cover up their tracks of the evil and wickedness that they're trying to push on the so-called that they're trying to put on the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. So we're going to start here. This is Psalm 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? No. Question mark. No. They're not going to have fellowship with 12 tribes, with the children of Israel, No matter how many times the men of the Lord go out on the highways and byways and tell our people that, hey, these folks mean you no good, they're gonna try to knock your head at a certain point. Our people don't listen. They fight for this equality when Yahweh Shema Shai said his people are above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. But here in Babylon, our people fight for equality that they will never get because these people hate you. So they're going to frame their mischiefs by law, meaning all they wicked ideas, they're just turning into a law that they can use against you. And they know the 12 tribes don't look into this, look into laws or anything like that. They just go with it. So they done made up all type of stuff to marginalize the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans here in Babylon to keep them from gaining power, to keep them from gaining influence. They read all the ancient texts and scrolls. They got all that information of how once Jake really started getting into these different, like in Rome, when Jake started getting into society, started coming up. Heck, even here at the slavery, when the so-called blacks got out of slavery and went to building their own communities, the community went to doing better than a lot of those so-called white communities. That's why they kept destroying them. So they're gonna frame this mischief by law to keep Jake down in this subservient situation to where they need the so-called white man, that they can never get up out of his shadow. But if we go any further, let's get this word mischief. It's that Psalm 94. And it shows you that these people know who we truly are, know our capability. Salaki, where was that? Psalm 94 and what was that? Psalm 94 and 20. Salaki, man. People just throw off my energy. The word mischief, strong H 5999. Amal from strong H 5998. Tor, i.e. weary, effort, hence worry, whether of body or mind, grievousness, inadequately, labor, mischief, miserable, misery, pain, painful, preservingness, sorrow, toil, travail, trouble, wearisomeness, wickedness. The biblical outline uses toil, trouble, labor, trouble, mischief, toil, and labor. Yeah. They frame as trouble and mischief and sorrow and wickedness and grievousness through laws, man. They use these laws to frame their mischief or their troubles or their grievances that they have for the children of Israel. And these unjust laws are continuously getting passed. Why? Because this is their kingdom. So they have that power to do that against us. Like I said, that's not the first law that marginalized so-called blacks and Latinos. And it won't be the last one. Because these people truly have an ancient hatred for us. So they'll never let us get back to the top again. And you think that man who's up there talking about how abominable that law they just passed is, you think he truly cares for you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans? No. No, don't care. Because guess what? Most of them that's in that in these high official government roles, they know what's going on. All this is an act, man. They putting on a show like they truly care when all of them know what's gonna be passed. When all of them realize, hey, this is what we have coming down the pipeline. So they get into their characters like they really care that we're being marginalized by these laws that they frame it through mischief, the grievances that they frame. The grievances they frame through law, Salaki. These people don't care. They know what's going on. They understand the score. They understand that they got to make it look good for some of you Negroes because y'all so gullible, y'all believe anything. And they know that. All you got to do is put one or two people out there to make it look like they're fighting for them. And Jacob just go with the flow. Yeah, see, he really care about us. Then in the next election, when you elect him back in there, he don't do nothing for you. He don't get no laws passed for you. He don't push no effort. And you just be stuck out looking dumb and foolish again because you continue to believe that your oppressor or anyone that look like him truly cares for you. All right, now before we go, I want to get that in another translation. All right, we got started in the AMP. Can a throne of destruction be allied with you? One which frameth and divide mischief by decree under the sacred name of law. Yeah, they frame that mischief by decree. What kind of decree? Unrighteous decrees, as the scripture said. And they use these unrighteous decrees to keep you in your place at the bottom of the food chain, at the bottom of the barrel. So you don't have representation. So you don't have people that fight for you. And the ones who actually look like you, that's in there and you would think will fight for you, they won't fight for you because they want to stay just a little bit above where you at. But as the scriptures say, through unrighteous woe to them who decree unrighteous decrees. That's Isaiah 10:1. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness, which we just went into that word mischief, and grievousness was one of those definitions which they have prescribed. So you can just say, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and write mischief, which they have prescribed. See how the Bible backs itself up? I mean, destruction to these people that do these things. To turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and they may rob the fatherless. See, Yahweh Shema Shai already had these people paid for who they truly are and the things that they would love to do. And one of those things is right grievousness into law against the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American, against the 12 tribes of Israel. I say we're never going to come out of that marginalized state here. For one, this is not our rest, and two, the people who rule this place hate us. I know our people love to think that they're our friends and companions and loved ones, but if you can't judge the spirit by the spirit, if you can't see Israelite that's hidden in the appearance of a heathen, then you wouldn't understand that, man. Most of these people just truly hate you. They don't want to see you do better. They understand that all these laws that have been passed, like the one Bill Clinton did, the 3 strike laws. They understand that those laws are disingenuous to us, but they just don't care. Why? Because we're in captivity under these people. As what's that group? 3 and 4 or 4 and 3? We are yet this day in our captivity. Yeah, we're still in the captivity under these Edomites. So they're going to continue to write laws that are grievous unto us, which marginalize us, which keep us in a place of lowlyhood, and really there's nothing we can do about it. We can't fight against it, because even if you do come against it, they don't even honor their own laws. Not when it come to you. Now, if it come to them, that's one thing. If it comes to someone that look like them, hey, they're honored. Heck, if it come to a Chinese or Japanese or East Indian, hey, they're honored. But when it come to a Jake, they'll try to do all kind of things to get past those laws, man. These people are the wicked, so they don't mind spreading evenness toward the children of Israel. They don't mind doing these things that goes against us. I'm gonna go here. Psalms 37:12. The wicked plotted against the just and gnashed it upon him with his teeth. Yahweh shall laugh at him, for he seeth the day. For he seeth that his day is coming. Yeah. Even though they plotted against us with these unrighteous decrees, with these mischief framed by law, in the end, Yahweh Ba'ashem and Havashai is going to laugh at him through his men, the prophet, because we see his day coming. We see his end coming to where he will be in the seat of oppression under us, where the first will be last and the last will be first. And we're going to put them same unrighteous decrees back on them. Well, Salaki, we ain't going to put unrighteous decrees because we're going to be in righteousness. We just going to put hell on them for all the wickedness that they did through those unrighteous decrees. I'm sorry, that was my mistake. Verse 14, the wicked had drawn their sword and had bent the bow to cast down the poor and needy and to slay such as to be an upright conversation. Yeah. And them swords and bows is those decrees that they're writing to keep the children of Israel in a poor state, breaking up the family, putting the women over the men, making these laws to where even if we was to have some kind of power in this society, that through their decrees, they making sure it'll never get there. Like I said, they done seen what would happen when Jake actually be allowed to live a good life, live a neighborhood by themselves and get everything straight without them on our ass. They understood that if we continue to allow them to live like that, they're going to be back in power again. So they got to continue to do these laws that keep us put down, that keep us without proper representation. So this is not surprising that something like this happened. And it never would be surprising even if I wasn't in the truth, because even at a certain point in my life, I understood that these people ruled over us and it really wasn't nothing we can do to fight against them. They built a system around keeping us down. So to think that we will ever be equal with them is a fool's errand. That's one thing I give my mama when I was coming up. She always told me, son, you can be their friends, but you can never be their equals. And I didn't understand that coming up. But once I got older, I became a man, I finally understood that. Yeah, they'll laugh and joke with you as long as they feel like they over you. But the moment they feel like you at the same level of them or higher, then you see another side of, you see that wicked side of them come out. And they'll use everything in their power to try to destroy you. So that's how they doing the children of Israel right now. They doing everything in their power to destroy them by creating these unjust laws to keep us from obtaining any kind of power in this place. Well, like I said, this place is not our rest, so wanting power here is just foolish anyway. We're gonna end it out here in Psalm 83:2 in the NIV. See how your enemy growl, how your foes rear their head. With cunning, they conspire against your people. They plot against those you cherish. Yeah. With cunningness, they plot against us. They set traps with their laws to keep us from coming up. And yes, Yahweh Bashim is definitely watching. He sees those things. That's why he said, give unto them double for the things that they had done unto you. We're going to give them double. We're going to give them double the hell because they got a lot to answer for. And we know Yahweh Bashim is going to put in our mind all these unrighteous decrees that we know of and the ones we don't. Remember, there's a lot of things hidden in the color of the law that we probably really don't fully understand, that these devils done put into circulation, that they have it as a law. So it's going to come a time, man, when they got to answer for these things that they did to us. And when the time comes, we're going to be some cruel masters. Going to be nothing but boot the ass. Because these kind of decrees right here is what keep the children of Israel in the state that they're in here in Babylon. But the time is slowly but surely coming to an end to where we're no longer going to be ruled by these people, but we're going to rule over them. So, Lord willing, I'll be of the first fruits of the elect to where I get to wake up every day stomping these people out for all this wickedness that they done. But that's all I had on that one. Hope this video was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem and Hawashai. Shabbat Shalom.